Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Everett Lead Show.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Woo! Slammin' Thursday edition.
All Elite Wrestling Dynamite!
We are NXT.
With Everett Lee
Damn.
and the Chris Rose.
Let's do this.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Welcome to 2020 edition of Slammin' Thursday with Everett Lee and the Chris Rose on the Everett Lee Show Slammin' Thursday edition. We're back for 2020, the first Slammin' Thursday edition of 2020. I hope everyone had a great and happy new year. Chris, the Chris Rose, Happy New Year, bro.
Happy New Year to you, man. I have to say, the new intro is phenomenal. I really love it, and I like my name being in there.
Yes,
love it.
I figured you would, man. I figured you would. Love that, man.
Yeah, I did. I liked it.
That's
I'm
amazing.
ready for what this show has to offer in 2020. I'm really excited.
Yeah. It's gonna be phenomenal. No pun intended, man. It's gonna be phenomenal tonight because we have a lot lined up here, man. We'll be talking about what happened this past Monday on Monday Night Raw. Last night, AEW's first show of 2020. We're gonna discuss that. Also, gonna discuss this day in wrestling history and something that you and I talked about a few days ago was wrestling moments. Everyone's looking back at 2019, talking about what was the best moment wrestling, and then of course on other radio shows, wrestling radio shows, they talked about the best wrestler of the decade. Why don't we just raise the bar up a hair and let's do best wrestling moment of the decade between 2010 and 2019. We're going to discuss those right there. We're going to share our favorite moments, man. And you gave me a list of stuff. God dang. Did you watch quite a bit of wrestling this past on the holidays? Did you?
Yeah, I did. I watched The Rock and John Cena and CM Punk and John Cena.
Oh.
And as New Year's was approaching, I was, just looking back on the 10 years of the WWE or whatever, any kind of wrestling.
Yeah.
And I came up with a list that I sent you, and I was just sitting here and just thinking about this decade, and there is a lot of moments, good moments, and there's a lot that come to mind. The Undertaker's streak came to an end by Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
I mean, that pay-per-view alone was crazy. That pay-per-view alone with Daniel Bryan beating Randy Orton and Batista. That's probably one of the best WrestleMania moments of all time. It was when Daniel Bryan won the championships, the Undisputed Championship. I mean, that was pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, those are some great moments right there, and we're going to discuss more into talking about that, man, here. Like you mentioned, because I want to hear more on this right here. I want to hear more on what you got going on with your favorite wrestling moments of the decade. I got quite a bit of wrestling moments of the decade myself. So it's gonna be a great, fantastic show for 2020 because you got Everett Lee and you got the Chris Rose in the house, baby, sitting back and
Drinking a little bit of the bubbly.
and then just enjoying everything with wrestling. And we're definitely gonna have a great time tonight. We definitely are gonna have a great time talking about a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things that we are going to be discussing tonight, and there's some things which we'll be discussing and talking about which wasn't really that great. I mean, like Monday Night Raw was more of a one of those. Again, the close 2019 out. I mean, I sat there and it was just like the whole show was just doing that right there. It just seemed like that. Did it not?
Yeah, man. I mean, the show's too long. It's 3 hours long. It's just too long of a show for everybody to get invested in, and they don't have the manpower to do it. They do have the manpower, but none of them are really connecting with the audience. They need guys in there. They need to redo the whole show. It's really hard to watch. There was some good from the show, but they really dropped the ball with me and you said it countless times. Bobby Lashley and the Lana wedding is awful.
Yeah.
The whole segment. Like you texted me the other day, Liv Morgan should have been brought back away from this bad shit. Now she's involved with it.
Yeah.
And that's just a shame. They repackaged Liv Morgan as a whole different character and completely wrecked it.
Yeah, they
if they wanted to involve her at all in this, it should have been her having an affair with Lashley instead of Lana.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. That would have been made much more sense though. But why show up at that point? And
the fake cake or whatever that little gimmick was in the ring, I knew someone was going to be in that because of how big it was. And it ended up Rusev jumping out of it. It was just a very hokey segment. Not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best.
Yeah, not the best. I agree with you right there. Not the best because it fell flat, man. It fell flat. Monday Night Raw just fell flat again. The promos killed me because they seem so scripted and forced. I don't know who the hell is writing back there for the talent because it just drives me freaking crazy. The way that people are talking. People don't talk like that. Like, for example, Ricochet coming out there. Oh, you want to do that to it? Just how he forced it. Oh God, it just killed me.
What's the reason for Ricochet coming out there and helping a local guy?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even say the local guy's name. He just came out there and was defending Humberto Carrillo, who wasn't even on the show. And he didn't even attack Humberto Carrillo. He attacked a local guy, and he wasn't. It was just a weird show. Didn't make sense to me. The best thing on the show was Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy's match. It was better than their TLC match, in my opinion. It was really, really good.
Oh yeah,
that was a great match.
Yeah, that was great. That right there.
I love the beginning of the match when Buddy Murphy did the Aleister Black spot in the ring where he did the crisscross pose. Mm-hmm. He reversed psychology on Aleister Black. I loved it. These guys meshed well together. And I was saying this all along. these two guys need to get in the ring together. They have similar looks. The styles are the same. They both strike good. These guys, I don't care. These guys could feud all year, and I would not be unhappy as long as the story's good. But right now, it's going great. But I mean, I think that Buddy Murphy needs to get a little win. But I mean, he's legit. Both guys are. I loved it.
Yeah. They both were. And I hate to pull this up though, but basically, like with like Lana and Liv Morgan, it felt more like a what do you call it here? It felt more of just the hot, passionate, it's like, hey, Lana. I wonder if that's what they were doing right before they came out, for the ceremony. I had to play that, dude.
You had to just throw that bit in there, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, I thought they post about saying that these two girls are single-handedly going to bring back the bras and panties matches.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, they picked the two women to do it with, but no, that's so 2005. Women's wrestling needs to be about the wrestling, and I think they should have brought back Liv Morgan in a different way than this. Because this is like this is different than what they do now. The women are athletic matches, and this is just a weird. They should have brought back Liv Morgan totally different, because Liv Morgan she had a different look but had the same personalities as she did when she was in the Riot Squad, just a crazy acting person, and she should have came back a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
See where they go with this. Watching Raw is so hard.
It is. It's pulling. I would rather pull teeth. I'd rather get my own teeth pulled and then watching this right here, because it's so horrible. It's so horrible. But it's a good point that you pull up for the fact that right there, if they pulled what they did with Bobby and Lashley and Lana's wedding, if they pulled that in 1998, it would have went off perfectly. However, this is 2000. It was 2019. Come on now, that stuff's not going to fly anymore because times have changed and it's not that anymore. I know people are wanting Attitude Era to come back though, but that right there, I think it was a little bit too forced. And Liv coming back and them using her in that type of way, it killed me, man. It killed me, because having her come back in that form and that capacity, they could have done something different. There was talks of her coming back with the Firefly Funhouse, coming back as Sister Abigail, and there was also talk about her rejoining, bringing the Riot Squad back. But none of that, man. None of it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they change it up in 2020 and give Raw a different feel and just a different, look and everything. I didn't get the Drew McIntyre handicap match. I thought Drew McIntyre was the heel. They looked more like a babyface / heel in the segment.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
It kind of hurt the credibility of Ryder and Hawkins. And even though, they do, they are glorified jobbers, but it was just felt so weird on the show to have that in there. Drew McIntyre deserves better than what he's getting. Drew McIntyre
exactly
should have been the universe when he came to Raw. a long time ago. When he
Yeah.
came from NXT to Raw, he should have been the champion right off the bat.
Right.
They dropped the ball with Drew McIntyre, still continuing to bury him. He left the company because of it the first time, and now he's getting treated the same as the first run he had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because the guy is great. He is the best. He is the best look in the business, and he can work, and he can talk, and they forced him to do this terrible shit all the time, and it's funny to watch because I'm a big supporter of him, and he has tons of supporters who. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more than this guy, Drew McIntyre, deserves better in that company.
Yeah, he does. He does. I definitely agree with you because they were going to do a big push with him. Nothing happened with the push that he was supposed to get. Nothing really happened. They'd have him come out, win 1 week, next week lose. Come out, win again, next week lose. Back and forth, winning, losing, and then he was losing. It was almost like he was reliving his 3MB days. You know?
Yeah, it's like he's just a guy there, and that was a waste of TV time. Like I said, 3 hours is a lot of time, and they can't even do anything in that time. No one wants a 3-hour movie or a 3-hour performance art show or whatever. No, I mean, hour and a half, 2 hours is what a wrestling show should be.
Mm-hmm.
And us, we have short attention spans. Our attention gets thrown off. During Raw, honestly, I pull up my phone to watch Monday Night Football sometimes here lately because I can't get into this stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I take notes all the time, but I do look down at and watch football on my phone because I get a little turned off by it. It's just not fun to watch here lately. I do like the Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins stuff. But I mean, I can get into that. Rollins is being a good heel, and he has a good group with him.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as anything else, it's hard to get into it. Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy is good. I like seeing that.
Oh yeah.
It's not even a main attracted. It's not even a main storyline really. It's just two guys that can kick ass and work.
Right.
I love that.
I loved it too.
They don't have. Why can't these guys? These guys should be having matches for the Universal Championship. The matches we're having.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is right now. It's just
exactly.
They love Brock. They love Brock Lesnar. They love the attraction guy having the championship, which is fine. But he's got to be there, and they did announce that he will be on Raw this upcoming Monday, and I'll be interested to see who he challenges at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be there. That's what they're going to discuss is the Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully they bring back a Battle Royal or something. Like have like a 20-man Battle Royal winner faces the champion. They don't do that no more. They don't do that stuff no more. Just an out-of-nowhere guy gets a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Have Drew McIntyre win a 20-man Battle Royal or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see the Drew McIntyre Lesnar kick ass at the Rumble. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens with Brock on Monday. I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah, who's going after the WWE Championship? Who is going to go after it? Because Rey Mysterio, he put that behind him now, and he left, and he's sitting at home with the championship, and now the Royal Rumble's coming up, and he's going to be back next Monday. They got to promote that right there. And what I hate every year in the last few years with the Royal Rumble, everyone comes out to the ring, they do a match, or before their match, they say, I just want everyone to know I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble this year. It's like, I kind of figured you were going to be in there, because pretty much, they're apparently what they're going to be doing with this year's Royal Rumble, they're going to be taking 15 Raw superstars, 15 SmackDown superstars, and 15 or 10 NXT talent. Or actually, no, it's 10 Raw, 10 from SmackDown, 10 from NXT, something like that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. And they're gonna be in the Royal Rumble. And there was already, I mean, I mentioned last month, 2 months ago, who I think is gonna win the 2020 Royal Rumble, and that's Kevin Owens. I like to see Kevin Owens win it. You pretty much are set on Drew to win it. I'd like to see him win it. Actually, that's a good pick. That definitely is a good pick.
Either him win the Royal Rumble or face Brock at the Royal Rumble, which I just thought of right off the top of my head here, just rambling on, just so I think of stuff while I'm talking.
Yeah.
But because man, I just want Drew McIntyre to have more than what he's getting.
Yeah.
Guy looks great. Use that. I mean, I thought Vince loved that because I thought Vince loved that type of person, that big, nasty, bad guy with the great body, the good looks, and the guy that can wrestle. The guy is a great performer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot better. And it's plain and simple.
Remember, he was the chosen one. Remember that. He was the chosen one. Yeah, remember all that?
That was my second year watching wrestling again. And I watched it in 2008, and I remember him coming in. And yeah, I like Drew McIntyre. I've always been a fan of him, and he's aged now. He's more polished. He probably in 2009 he was really, really young, and he was in that spot just because of that look. But now he's way more polished as a performer and looks great. Added a lot more size. And, man, I just think he's put in the time there in WWE. Mm-hmm. He needs to do more. They need to do more with this guy. They just need to. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely need to do more with Drew McIntyre because he's a great talent and he's great in the ring, out of the ring. I mean, he's more polished than what he was before. He definitely was more polished than what he was before, and They need to do something, man. They need to have that talent. And a lot of people say, do you know if any superstar that is big like a Hulk Hogan, a Steve Austin, The Rock, Bruno Sammartino, or a John Cena, do you know anyone that has that type of power right now in WWE?
No. The last person to have that power was CM Punk and Daniel Bryan before Daniel Bryan had to retire the first time. Daniel Bryan kind of lost some of that. But CM Punk was the last guy to even compare to John Cena.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no one like that. There's no one like that right now. I mean, they tried to push Roman Reigns as that guy, but that fell flat because for 4 years they tried it. And the fans said, no, we don't want this guy. We don't want Roman Reigns as our guy. We want Daniel Bryan. We want CM Punk. And what happens? Daniel Bryan gets injured. CM Punk, they drive him out of the company. He goes off to do UFC and what he's doing now, if you follow him. And Roman Reigns, no one wanted him. I mean, he sold a lot of merchandise to kids. I mean, that's great. You making merchandise sales. The kids want to be Roman Reigns. They want a Superman punch, all that good stuff. But you don't have a Hulk Hogan. You don't have a John Cena, Steve Austin, The Rock, Bruno Sammartino. You don't have anyone like that right now. The only thing that you have is just talent that they don't know how to book. They don't. Kevin in the chat, shout out to Kevin. Street Profits are the best thing going on right now. Tag team, if you're going to talk about tag team, if you throw that in there, Street Profits are hot right now. And they're slowly building the tag team division. Am I not right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the Street Profits have kind of lost some of their slag here lately because of the bad booking. And there's a lot of, I mean, that they came in really hot at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to wait so to perform on Monday Night Raw because they was still in NXT. But then when they brought them on the main roster, they dropped the ball with them.
Yeah,
they have.
They have
Ball on them, and I think 2020 is going to be the year for the Street Profits because when they had start to push them on Raw, it was almost the end of 2019. So in 2020, I believe it would be a good year for the Street Profits. These guys are really good. They connect with the crowd. But here lately, on Raw, it seemed to me that they're just feeling kind of flat right now.
Yeah.
But see what happens.
Yeah.
We will see.
When I see Street Profits, I just want to kick back and
Drinking a little bit of the bubbly.
that's basically what I like to do there. I mean, WWE Creative, they gotta do something for 2020 because they're basically sitting backstage and in the back and they're like,
But you know and I know that you're only half the man that I am. And I have half the brain that you do.
that's basically what creative is right there. they sit back there and say, hey, what are we going to do tonight? And it's like, well, let's take talent. What do you think, man? And one person is, that sounds great. Let's have Liv Morgan and Lana be lesbian lovers. All right, yeah, whatever. Kevin says, would you rather see Lesnar versus Lashley or Lesnar versus Strowman? Who would you like to see? That's a good question. If Lesnar, Brock Lesnar face.
They already let Strowman.
Yeah, he already went through Strowman, yeah. But Bobby Lashley, let me jump on this right here. You know the whole reason why they brought Bobby Lashley back, right? He came back. He wanted to have a match and a feud with Brock Lesnar. That didn't happen. Look what the hell they did. They stuck him with a little Leo Rush coming out there as his mouthpiece. I got so sick of that, My man, Bobby Lashley. My man, the mighty Bobby. I was just like, dude, shut your mouth, wrestle. You're better at wrestling than you are on the mic. That's how I felt about Leo Rush. Honestly, he's a better performer in the ring than he is on the mic. And I'm glad they don't have him on the mic as much in NXT. But Lashley did. I would have liked to seen him when he first came back. Here's another missed opportunity, Chris. They failed on the opportunity to have someone like Lashley come back with the response he got. Throw him in a program against Lesnar. That would have been great. Because why is Bobby Lashley back? Oh, he wants Lesnar. Okay, cool. Book it, plan it. There you go. But what? You dropped the ball on it. How would you have booked Bobby Lashley when he came back to WWE? How would you have booked him?
I would have brought him back, and when he debuted against Elias, I remember when he came back, Elias was doing one of his concerts, and at that time, the gimmick was when he was out there doing his concerts, someone would interrupt him. And Lashley interrupted him, but I think he should have won like a Royal Rumble or something, come out at like number 30, and he should have challenged Lesnar, like you said. That was the sole reason, I believe, for him to even be in the WWE was to have that match with Lesnar.
Exactly.
And that's what everyone, because both guys was on two different UFC brands, Bellator and UFC, and both dominated respectfully in those divisions, and everybody wanted to see that wrestling match in WWE.
Yes.
And Bobby Lashley left, come back to the WWE. That should have been the match. And then you had guys like Finn Balor beat Bobby, And no dig at Finn Balor, but that kind of ruins the match for, like, Lashley should be like Lesnar, not shown a lot. He's shown way too much now.
Exactly.
And he's an attraction. He's brought back as an attraction. He was an attraction in Impact. Impact ain't worth shit, in my opinion, but they booked Lashley really well, and they got him over in Impact more than he ever was in WWE.
Exactly.
When he came back to the, it wasn't the best, and they dropped the ball big time. They should have had him and Lesnar go at it. That should have been the match. That should have been what they should have built to with Lashley, and he should be dominant just like Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Yeah, Lesnar. And he hasn't even been the champion yet, and I do not know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Vince likes the big guys, and you figured he would start pushing them. I mean, he pushed Roman. That failed, and a lot of people stepped up, and they put other people. They put Roman in the back. I know he battled his leukemia, and he came back and stuff and everything. But one thing I have to do say is that, speaking of Roman Reigns, the feud he's been having with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has so much heat. Everyone hates this guy. They hate this guy so much that people turn their TV off when he comes on. He legitimately, if I can get that damn word out, has heat on him. That real heat. People cannot stand the guy. Even on social media, people troll his ass. They troll his ass on social media, and he fires back at them. And it's how much they hate this guy. Okay? If you'd say anyone would be a top heel that has legitimate heat in WWE right now, Baron Corbin. That would be the guy. You love him or hate him, the guy comes out there and he does his job every single Friday night.
Yep. Yeah. Baron Corbin is a legit heel in the business, and him and MJF and Chris Jericho are probably the three best heels in wrestling right now.
Exactly.
They're actual heels. Get booed, and they go out there to attract heat. As I was telling you right now, I got AEW playing in the background, and that's the MJF segment right now. Getting in the fans' faces, getting into their grill, provoking them, getting in their face, talking trash. That's what a heel is supposed to do.
Exactly.
Most wrestlers these days they get their feelings hurt, and they're afraid of the fans booing them. And come on. Does the Joker get his little feelings hurt when he gets booed against Batman? No.
No.
The heel is supposed to suck it up, take the heat, get the crowd, hating them, put on a show. And I think MJF, Jericho, Baron Corbin does the best of that.
They do. They go out there. And they do their job. They go out there. They do their job. Baron Corbin goes out there. He goes after the crowd. He calls them bottom feeders. He does his job. It's legitimate heat, man. This guy brings legitimate heat. And people hate the guy for this. They freaking hate his ass for it,
Yep.
They do.
That's what Baron Corbin does.
Exactly.
He does a job at it.
Kevin has a question. He says, do you think they could have brought Drew McIntyre back as the next Undertaker kind of character? He's got the Undertaker look to him. They could. They could have brought him back like an Undertaker, but he does have that look and persona. You don't think he does?
No, there's only one Undertaker, and that's Mark Calloway.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre has a great look, but his gimmick in NXT could have got over in WWE without the Undertaker, comparison. Drew McIntyre could have been a Drew. He could have not been compared to anybody but himself. if WWE would have booked him right when he came back from his NXT injury onto the main roster. But they paired him with Dolph Ziggler, which is no dig at Dolph. I like Dolph Ziggler as a performer. I think he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But Drew McIntyre should have been the Universal Champion, in my opinion. I think he should have went straight to the top. They dropped the ball with this guy. They should have, the same gimmick. His music is awesome. I love his whole thing. Everything he's got going on but they're dropping the ball with him right now.
They are. They are. They are. The guy went out. Yeah.
I've explained why earlier, but Drew McIntyre deserves better.
He does. I agree. I definitely agree. Scale 1 to 5. Monday Night Raw. What do you give it?
A 2.
Give it a 2. I give it a 1. Because it was basically just...
I'm so fresh, you can suck my nuts. I'm so fresh, you can suck my nuts. Swear, I'm so fresh, you can suck my nuts. I'm so fresh, you can suck my nuts.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, your little bits are questionable, sir. But funny. Right.
Yeah. Well,
what we do, Everett Lee, we mix things up, keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Basically.
I'm Johnny!
Damn. There you go. People in the chat's probably wondering, and viewers is like, what the hell did I just witness? You just witnessed Otis running to the bathroom with hot diarrhea. Cha-cha-cha. Okay. Let's move on to AEW Dynamite. I want to talk briefly about this. Now, I know you're playing it right now. You're trying to get caught up with it and stuff and everything going on. You had one hell of a New Year's Eve, and I understand. I mean, just the Chris Rose when he kicks back and
Drinking a little bit of the bubbly.
Time slips from you sometimes, and I almost forgot. Believe it or not, I almost forgot last night AEW was on. I know NXT. I didn't even watch NXT because I already heard about 2 weeks ago what they were going to plan on do with the NXT. They were just going to be basically just do a rerun of best matches of 2019. I get that. And thank you for the likes and the love, Patricia Summerlin, original Glow Girl, Sunny to California Girl. Thank you so much. Who's viewing right now in the chat? And the chat is on fire tonight, man. We got a lot of people viewing in. I just want to mention that. And a lot of people joining in. And I want to thank you all for supporting the Everett Lee Show, Slammin' Thursday edition with Everett Lee and the Chris Rose, baby. And joining us with some wrestling discussion. And here shortly, we're going to be talking about our best wrestling moments in the decade from 2010 to 2019, and we're going to be discussing that here coming up right after we get done discussing AEW, what happened last night there, and I'm going to mention what happened on January 2nd in this day in wrestling history. Couple cool things, and one thing, believe it or not, Chris, coincides with what we talked about that happened on Monday Night Raw. Can you guess?
What's that?
I'll tell you here in a bit.
I got AEW playing in the background, and I was fast forwarding to the main event, and I got sidetracked, sir. So I apologize for that.
No, that's great. That's great. So let's pretty much just
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
And
We
about to get stupid.
About AEW. AEW last night, the show opened up with Cody, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, which I will refer Cody to Cody Rhodes because he's the son of Dusty Rhodes, son of a plumber. And the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes' son, Cody, the American Nightmare, came walking out to the ring with Double A, the Enforcer, Arn Anderson. And they went up against, or Cody went up against, Darby Allin in a match. The Enforcer, I expected he would have interfered and get involved in this match in some shape or form, in which he did. Which, why would Double A not be out there, or why would Double A not interfere? But did you notice, Chris, he pointed to the AEW logo on his shirt there. Was that not great?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to have Double A, the Enforcer, in AEW. As you saw back at All Out, he came in and gave the Double A spine buster to Shawn Spears.
Oh God,
during
yeah.
the match.
I will argue. I will argue with anybody about this. The best spine buster in wrestling, right there, is performed by Double A.
Yes, by far the best. Yes. He's the originator. He's the inventor. He's the man.
Yes.
Him and Triple are the two best at it.
Yes.
But yeah, Arn Anderson. Yeah, he's really great. He's going to be good for this. At first, though, I would like to see him with a younger wrestler because I think Cody is, with his mic skills and everything, I don't see why he needs a manager. But after what I saw during this match with Cody and Darby, I really like how Arn Anderson's being kind of that Andy Reid NFL football coach style manager.
Oh, yeah.
He put the paper over his Cody. It looked like an NFL football coach.
Uh-huh.
That was different. You don't see, and I really like that. He reminded me of the Kansas City Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid, just a calm, collective coach who just sits there, but doesn't really do a lot. And I really like that because that's how Arn Anderson is. He's just a calm, collective guy, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the new. It was different.
The
match was a little too long for my taste, but it was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Darby Allin's promo video before the match. I thought that was really different and unique and cool.
Mm-hmm.
Darby Allin's another guy, a big star in the business, and not a big guy, but the way he does his stuff, it makes you think he is a big guy. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy Darby Allin and Cody. They meshed well together. It was a good match.
It was. It was a great match. I'm starting to like Darby Allin more each week I see him on AEW. Just everything that he's doing and stuff. And him having a match against Cody, I got to see that live back during the summer when they came to Daytona Beach here for the not the Fighter Fest, or they were with the CEO Gaming that AEW did. I got to see them wrestle live, tear it up in the ring, and god dang, I tell you, I loved it watching these two perform live in a ring in that squared circle there, just going at it, going back and forth. Darby Allin, I'm starting to really like his finisher, the coffin drop. I love that, and he held his own against Cody. He worked on a body part, which I like because he's been working on his craft. I love the fact that Darby Allin worked on a body part, remind me of old school wrestling there. And he sold what Cody did to him, and Cody sold. And Cody, they both made each other look fantastic in the ring. And at one point, I did not know who the heck was going to win this. And then when Double A jumped in and got up on the ring apron there and distracted the ref, and then Cody countered Darby coming off the top rope, and then he went for the 1, 2, 3, and then that was it. And yeah, Cody won, man. And the last time, like I mentioned, when they wrestled, there was not a winner in that match. It went to a draw. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Fighter Fest.
yeah, Fighter Fest. When I was there, he ended up beating. This time, he beat Darby Allin. Finally, he beat Darby Allin. Next match we had was the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW Women's Championship. You had the champion Rio coming out, going up against Britt Baker. Hikaru Shida. I said that right? I said my Japanese right. God dang, man. It sounded great this time, didn't it? I said it right.
Woo! Don't announce those names, but I'm proud of you, buddy. You did a good job.
Yes, I did. I pronounced it just right. And Nyla Rose, which you haven't really seen much of in this Fatal 4-Way match. One thing that I liked about this match was how at times they eliminated one of the other opponents, and you had 2-on-2, you had 1-on-1, and you had 2-on-1, and then eventually you had all four, and then eventually went back and forth. Momentum did and stuff, and Nyla putting Shadida through a freaking table, man. Oh my God. That just about killed me there, you know?
Yeah, it was a crazy match. I really enjoy Hikaru Shida. She's really well. She has a lot of good strikes. Nyla Rose is a beast, no pun intended. She's really good. I really liked her. Rio, it's hard to get into her right now, but she does perform well. But another girl that I say every week, she needs to watch her boyfriend or husband, Adam Cole, wrestle, because she needs to learn Britt Baker. Her punches look weak. Forearms look weak. It looks bad.
It does.
I'd
She
like
was
to sit
sloppy.
her out of this match, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a good match. That was lethal when Riho went through the table at the end of the match.
Yeah.
And Nyla Rose. that was rough. And obviously, that's what they're going to build to with those two girls. I could see Nyla Rose winning the championship in 2020. Nyla Rose will be your next AEW champion.
Yes. I was happy for the fact that Nyla Rose did not get pinned, because I don't like it when I saw Nyla Rose went up against Rio and whoever else at the Fyter Fest last year here in Daytona, and she gets beat by the smallest girl in the ring. Come on. No. I wanted her to come in there and squash them. And I was happy that she didn't get pinned, because that builds more credibility. They need to build credibility. Yes, I agree. Nyla Rose should be AEW Women's Champion in 2020. They need to take the belt off of Rio, because honestly, I know you don't like Britt Baker, but she did cut and make a good promo backstage saying, "I'm here every week," which she's been on TV every week. Where's Rio been? Rio's shown up here and there. Is that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of Rio either.
Yeah.
AEW is big on their Japanese wrestlers. That's obvious.
Yes.
That's Kenny Omega, came from Japan, and he's the guy who signs the women's wrestlers, and he's in charge of that. That's the rumor and innuendo. And yeah, he loves the Japanese women. That's no secret.
Mm-hmm.
But Nyla Rose, I mean, I think she should be the champion. She should have been the champion from the beginning. She's dominant. She's got the size.
Exactly.
Give her the championship.
She does.
And Hikaru Shida is better than Rio, in my opinion. If you're going to put a Japanese girl in there, it should be her.
I
and
noticed
at least she has some size, believability. Did you see her pick up Nyla Rose in the match? Give her the Falcon Arrow.
God dang. Crazy.
Big.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That was crazy right there. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? She picked up Nyla Rose. Everyone loved that too. Everyone loved that she picked up Nyla and she Falcon Arrow.
Pick up Nyla and
No one could pick up Nyla, man, and she did. She freaking did, man. But in the end, Rio retains the championship, and next week she's going to be defending it again. And I cannot think of the opponent off the top of my head, but Mr. Moxley, John Moxley, goes up against Trent from Private Best Friends tag team.
Yep.
And great match. John Moxley goes out there and does what John Moxley does. And he defeats Trent. And then, of course, Jericho cutting this promo and everything and stuff. And they're still teasing. Jericho wants Moxley to join the Inner Circle. And Moxley said, you'll get my answer in person next week. Did you hear the boos from the crowd, man? They expected it this week.
They did, man. They expected it. They're just going to keep building, man. They're going to keep building this feud. And that's what they should do. They need to keep, making the fans want more.
That's right.
And Moxley, the match and everything, it was just there for me. I mean, I'm not into I'm not into the Best Friends all that much like everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want to see a lot more of this.
I do.
Moxley and Jericho. I'm really into it. Both guys are pros, former WWE superstars. It's going to be great. I'm really excited to see what they do.
I am too. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Well, one thing for sure is you're not going to have Mitch the Plant show up. There's going to probably be about a
33 and third chance.
You see Mitch the Plant show up in the Jericho versus John Moxley feud. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Mitch the Plant, that was good stuff in 2016.
Yeah, that was.
That was
That was.
stuff with Moxley and Jericho. Moxley, obviously, in podcast before he was on Double or Nothing and debuted in AEW, he hated all of that. But
he did, but he made it.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I enjoyed it.
I did too. I enjoyed
really?
Mitch Plant. I enjoyed that. I think that might have been Jimmy Jacobs that came up with that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jacobs is a writer. He did a lot of good stuff for Jericho. Jericho says, and it's well documented, that he wrote all of Jericho's stuff. They worked together one-on-one all the time.
That's why Jericho's stuff shine. Yeah.
Up with the list, Jimmy Jacobs, that was his idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all good stuff. And yeah. I'm ready to see what. And Jericho has brought back the list, kind of in a way, in AEW.
Yep.
And I'm really excited, man. I love that. Jericho, Moxley, Cody, and MJF. Those four right there get me interested into this show every week. Exactly.
Speaking of Cody, Dustin Rhodes went up against Sammy Guevara, and I thought it was a pretty good match until Jake Hager Swagger interfered, and Sammy defeated him.
Man, it was a pretty good match though. I thought these guys did pretty good together. but the Canadian Destroyer on the apron looked so good.
Damn. Yeah. The Canadian Destroyer. I don't know how someone could survive that shit, but they did. They did, man. Rattle my brain.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what wrestling does not get in this era.
Yeah.
They do too much stuff and not enough with your characters.
Right.
They just do too much wild shit that a fan will love in that moment, but then they'll forget about it, and then the wrestler taking it has a brain injury, a head injury, and they just do a lot of stuff that does not make sense just to get a cheap pop in the crowd, and then the crowd just forget about it. They'll watch little clips of it every now and then, but I mean, it didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And why do that? Why do that spot? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And it looked very unsafe. It looked like he broke his neck.
Yeah.
And the crowd literally, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of stories from people, and they look safe, but that one was so unsafe by, a veteran wrestler. And, yeah, man, crazy.
Yeah. Definitely crazy. I definitely agree with you.
AEW. Every match does the same thing. Everybody does a Canadian Destroyer.
Yep.
Everybody does a lot of the stuff. Some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, that's why I can get into those guys, because they do it differently than a lot of everybody else. A lot of people do the Canadian Destroyers, and a lot of just hit it like they hit it on replay.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just same stuff.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It is.
And like the main event with Elite and versus Pac and the Lucha Brothers, it was just not a lot of wrestling, just a bunch of high spots.
Pretty much.
No story.
Pretty much.
It was fast.
Yeah.
Getting to end.
Yeah, get in there, hit that high spot. High spot here, high spot there, high spot here, high spot there. One wing angel. Super kick party. There you go.
Thing. And how can you follow that if you want to make a storyline out of it when you've done everything in your first match? That's what I try to tell these younger wrestlers that I work with. Don't do everything all at once.
No.
That's why Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that. They don't imagine all of that being in one movie. That'd be a long, and you would get tired of it. You got to split it up.
Yep. You'd have a tumor by the end of it.
That's sagas. You can't put everything all in one match. You got to leave the fans wanting more. And AEW has been following the NXT here lately.
Yeah, they have. They've been taking notice, man. They've been taking notice because I believe Jim Cornette mentioned. He said, or someone mentioned that AEW needs to watch what NXT's doing, because if they want to stay ahead of NXT in the ratings, they better watch what they're doing, and they better outdo what they're doing. They better put the better programming up. Okay, NXT's doing this week. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to do this right here. How many people's going to flip over this channel at this time on the program to see this right here? Because we're doing this compared to what NXT's doing. You got to stay ahead of that. You want more product. You want more views and butts in the seat on your product. Yeah, they basically been paying attention. They're paying attention to what NXT's doing now, because NXT there for a while, last month, November, 2 months ago, was beating AEW in the ratings. They were beating them in the ratings.
Yeah.
Because of the program and everything that was going on. And now AEW is like, all right, this is 2020 New Year. We're going to pay attention to see what the other show's doing on the same night we're on, and we're going to outdo them. And that's what they need to do.
Oh, yeah. NXT wasn't. I mean, Vince McMahon's just not going to sit back and let another company try to put him out.
No.
I mean, he's smarter than that. He's been in the wrestling industry for years, decades. He's not going to sit back and let AEW, a guy with just as much money as Vince McMahon, beat him out. And it's showing.
Yes.
I think AEW should have been Darby Allin and Cody, in my opinion, because that was the best match on the card.
Yeah. That opening match.
Fans are really invested in those guys. And the fans, they popped on the stuff in the six-man tag, but after the big high spots, they set right back down. These guys really didn't wrestle. They just did choreographed shit.
Yes.
And it wasn't, good for me. I've seen the Elite have good matches. I've seen the Lucha Bros and Pac have good matches. This one right here just felt so thrown together and just really not, and it wasn't that good to me. Ray Phoenix is phenomenal. He did some stuff in that match that was awesome. Kenny Omega's pound for pound one of the best wrestlers in the world. He did some good stuff.
Right.
But it didn't mean a damn thing.
No.
They got the crowd to pop, but then they shut right back down after it.
That's...
You go back watching on Christmas break, The Rock and John Cena didn't do half that stuff, and the fans stood up the entire match because they knew how to build, they knew how to work the crowd, they knew how to get that crowd invested in them without even doing the damn thing, but standing there and looking at each other.
They did.
Crowd the whole match.
They did.
CM Punk, John stood up the entire time, and they didn't do half the shit they did in that six-man tag match. That's wrestling.
That is.
CM Punk, John Cena, The Rock, those guys know how to get that crowd invested in what they're doing because those guys know how to do their stuff.
They do.
CM Punk, they didn't even do the Canadian Destroyers or the backflip, Hurricane 450 Ranas. They just went out there, they got the crowd into it, and they made you believe in what they was doing.
Exactly. You
Awesome.
didn't have to have a million high spot here, high spot there. Do the high spot. Have a high spot the whole damn match compared to the opening match with Cody and Darby Allin. If you look at the opening match to the closing match, the opening match would be my favorite of the night right there. Hands down, my favorite.
Yeah. One of my favorite matches of the decade was Rock and Cena.
I'm talking about AEW and you're talking about Rock and Cena. You want to unleash on the best moments. I know you do. But let's let's close this discussion on AEW because I know you're itching. You're biting at the chomp, Chris. You're biting at the chomp because you want to talk about the best moments. You're basically like
Here's Johnny.
because you don't want things. I know you get sidetracked, but you don't want things to get a little fickle. So let's close out the AEW discussion here.
Do what?
I said let's close out the AEW discussion right here. Okay. You agree, and I agree. Cody versus Darby Allin, match of the night for AEW Dynamite on January 1st, 2020, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For match of the night, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, definitely match of the night.
Okay.
The Fatal 4.
Yeah.
But the first two matches really kicked off the show really good.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, they did. They did. That's the way you start a programming right there. A wrestling program on cable TV right there. That's the way you start it off, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way you start it off. Great match. Great opener. 1 to 5.
Cody's a damn star.
Cody is a star. He's the son of a plumber from
He's
Texas. Took the roads to American Dream. Son of a plumber with a bionic elbow he's going to use on your forehead. Am I not right?
Imagine, just think about if Dusty was still here, he'd be so proud of him right now. Cody's done wonders for the Rhodes family. And he didn't have to do it in WWE, and that's just great.
Yeah, he basically showed that you can make it without the big machine, which is true. Scale 1 to 5.
He's the big machine.
Yes.
But 1 to 5, I'll have to give it a 3. It was better than Raw, but this wasn't one of the best AEW episodes I've ever watched. So, but I have to give it a 3 out of 5.
I give it a 4 out of 5 for the fact that the opening match just had me right there. And MJF's promo right there. And how he's put more Ward Low over, and we're going to get to see this guy wrestle soon. So there you go right there. That is AEW Dynamite for our review of it for 2020, ladies and gentlemen. And before we jump into talking about a quick note on this day in wrestling and the best moments of the decade, best wrestling moments of the decade from 2010, 2019, I want to mention that you can follow Podcast City on the following social media platforms. PodcastCity.net, the official website of Podcast City Network. You can check out shows such as The Everett Lee Show, Final Score, The Chris Carnage Show, Super Radio Brothers, Imaginarium with Scott and Todd, Best Friend Podcast Show with Heather Owens and Jade, and Wrestle Popcast, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, Movie Nights Podcast, and much, much more on podcastcity.net. Follow them on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and hit them up on Twitter. Send them a tweet at Podcast City Net. Follow, subscribe to Podcast City Network right there over on YouTube, Podcast City Network, and on their Twitch channel, Podcast City Network. And when we come back, we're going to discuss our favorite wrestling moments of the decade and what happened on this day in wrestling history. And we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
The following support and sponsor Podcast City Network. City Limits Tap Room, sports bar in DeLand, Florida, has brew on tap, serve food, the grilled cheese is excellent. For upcoming events, check out City Limits Tap Room on Facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. Morph Tee, a comfortable and lightweight 100% polyester t-shirt with illustrated morph characters that, when worn, will make the illustrations seem to come to life. For more of Tony Rodriguez's work, you can see his full line of apparel at teespring.com. Sports Sanity Customs have worked with organizations from custom embroidering polo shirts to jerseys for your kids' baseball team. They do it all. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an in-house design team, they are equipped to take on your next project. Visit their website to learn more, sportsanitycustoms.com. Visit Sports Sanity Customs on Facebook.com/SportsSanityCustoms. 3 Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. Visit Facebook.com/3CountDesign for more. Demo Blast Studios, an explosion of imagination. Original artwork, podcasts, video, apparel and more. Visit DemoBlastStudios.com. Visit Demoblast Studios on Facebook.com/Demoblast Studios, the best family entertainment pro wrestling show in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky's Own Wrestling brings quality family vintage wrestling to a town near you. Kentucky's Own Wrestling offers a ladies division in wrestling and a training school. Kentucky's Own Wrestling is the current longest running Southern promotion. Visit Facebook.com/Somerset Kentucky's Own Wrestling. All supporters and sponsors are brought to you by Podcast City Network.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
For more of the Everett Lee Show on social media, follow and like The Everett Lee Show on Facebook, The Everett Lee Show, Twitter, @the Everett_Lee, Instagram, Everett Lee Show. Audio versions of this podcast and previously released podcast can be found on everettleeshow.podbean.com. Stitcher Radio, The Everett Lee Show, give a rating and comment. Apple Podcast, The Everett Lee Show, give a rating and comment. YouTube, The Everett Lee Show, subscribe to the channel. The Everett Lee Show, your shot of entertainment to the head.
Hey fans, here at Podcast City Network, we have a lot of great shows on all of our great social media outlets. PodcastCity.net.
Facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit that thumbs up. You can send a tweet to Podcast City Network on Twitter @PodcastCityNet.
Only on Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And again, thank you for listening and thank you for watching tonight here on the Slammin' Thursday edition of the Everett Lee Show with Everett Lee and the Chris Rose. And let's talk about, I want to mention real quick, this day in wrestling history. You're going to love this, Chris. You're definitely going to love this right here because I pulled this up here. And first things first, I got to say this, that with what happened on this day in wrestling history, which I mentioned earlier, for the fact that a thing happened this past Monday on Raw, the last Raw for 2019, and what happened on this day in wrestling history on January 2nd. You're going to love this, man. You're definitely going to love this. In Albuquerque, Mexico, New Mexico, on SmackDown Live, it's highlighted to be one of the most infamous weddings in WWE history.
I'm coming!
That's right. Don Marie and Al Wilson, Tori Wilson's father, get kayfabed married in their underwear. That's right. They get kayfabe married in their underwear. The full show, which also featured Team Angle versus Chris Benoit and Edge and Brock Lesnar versus Matt Hardy. And it's, you can check it out for yourself there. It's available on the WWE Network. But Chris, do you remember that right there? I don't even think he's back yet. Here I am just talking. You're listening.
I'm here. I'm you, buddy. I'm shooting blanks at this one. I don't remember this at all.
You don't remember this one?
I don't.
There was a storyline, okay, they did with Tori Wilson. This was back when Paul Heyman was head writer for SmackDown. Do you remember back when SmackDown was killing Raw in the ratings each week is because of Paul Heyman's writing and what he was doing with.
Right.
Yeah, that right there was just something right there, because what happened was they played off where Don Marie and Tori were like, Don Marie was coming strong onto Tori Wilson. Like, yeah, it was like that though. But then she got involved with Tori's father, and they ended up getting married on SmackDown in his underwear. Al Wilson was in his underwear. Don Marie was wearing this, like, god dang, she looked good. She in her underwear she was wearing, but it was crazy. It was one of those crazy times, crazy moments right there, watching this on television, because you're like, are you freaking kidding me? They're getting married in her underwear and stuff, and Tori was all against it and everything and stuff. I mean, she didn't like it. She did not like it at all, man. I kid you not. She did not like how Don Marie was going after her father. She did not like it.
Yeah.
She hated it.
Yeah, women's wrestling is totally different now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Crazy.
it definitely is.
How far it's come.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Yeah. It's come a long way. It definitely has come a long way. But yeah, that was crazy right there. Just that right there. And on this day, on January 2nd, on NWA Power Hour taping in Gainesville, Georgia, talking about the Enforcer, Arn Anderson defeated the Great Muta to win the NWA World Television Championship.
Yeah.
So those right there are two things that I found pretty interesting for what happened on this day in wrestling history, right there. The Don Marie,
Arn Anderson is one.
What's that?
Arn Anderson's one of the best TV champions of all time. He really enjoyed being the television champion. And, yeah, him and the Great Muta, good match. Really good match.
Yeah, great match. Definitely great match. You can check that out. I think you can find it on YouTube, if I'm for sure. You could definitely pick it up and check it out on, search it on YouTube right there. But Don Marie, Al Wilson getting married in her underwear. That was something right there. But let's go ahead and talk about our favorite, best wrestling moments in the decade from 2010 to 2019. So many wrestling moments that's come and gone in this last decade, man. Everything from what you were discussing earlier into stuff. Since it's fresh on my mind, I want to talk about that right there. Okay, a little backstory about that. You're talking about John Cena and The Rock, how they built that up right there, because that story started at WrestleMania 27, I believe it was 27.
The Raw after WrestleMania is really when it started, when The Rock and John Cena started their deal. The Rock came back and he said he's wanting a piece of John Cena.
Yep.
And that's how it all started, because John Cena, when The Rock left the first time, he's left quite a bit. When he left and didn't come back until 2011, John Cena went into the dirt sheets or whatever and just, talked shit about The Rock for leaving.
Yeah. Yeah. At that time, he didn't understand it.
Do what?
At that time, he didn't really understand why he did what he did, though. But years later, I will say this, he did apologize, because John Cena's at right now in his life, he understands now why The Rock did what he did back then, though. But
Cena was possibly just wanting to get a match out of The Rock, too, at that time as well.
Yeah.
And he did, eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Because, John Cena's at that level as The Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
John Cena is at that level.
He is.
He's one of the best of all. And I didn't realize that. I was young. I was 20 years old when this was going. 21. And I wasn't a Cena fan, but when I got older and when I got in the business, you realize that John Cena is one of the best ever.
Right.
And him and The Rock built this feud up perfectly. And CM Punk was a part of it.
Yep.
At times.
He was.
John Cena and CM Punk went at it during that feud. A year-long build. And they didn't mess it up once. I really enjoyed it. WWE was a lot more fun to watch at that time. There's a lot to talk about in this decade, but this one right here, the one we're talking about right now, The Rock and John Cena match. It isn't a Japanese 6-star match. I get it.
Which
a lot of people say in the comments when I posted the picture of them two, because I was really into the match. I can get into this because of who the guys are. If The Rock had a match with,
is it you're talking about WrestleMania 28 when they first their first match against each other, not the 29 one in New York, right?
And the 29 one was good too. I'm talking about the very first time these guys locked up.
Okay.
The crowd, the feet, the whole time.
Yes.
They never sat down. They was emotionally invested in the two performers, Rock and Cena.
Yes.
And these guys can get a crowd behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, they just, and it's how they do their stick. They're really good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed the whole build around that time.
Talking about that match there, I want to add this. Before they locked up, the crowd, they already blew the roof off the arena. If there was a roof, it was gone because they stood there and they just didn't do anything. And yeah, you can tell if you watch it on WWE Network. Go back if you have WWE Network and watch this, or pull it up on YouTube. Pull it up some shape or form, but you can look, and even before they locked up, they blew the roof off. And then when they locked up, they even blew it up further. And even when they got, out of locking up, the roof is still blowing off. And yeah, I'd definitely say that's one of those like WrestleMania moments right there that would be a moment. I don't care, you can like it or hate it, but it'd be one of those moments to where, yeah, the crowd was emotionally invested into this story because it's built for the whole year. Most definitely. I agree. Now,
really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I still remember it like it was yesterday when I watched that match. Something you mentioned, too, talk about John Cena and CM Punk. They had a great rivalry in the 2010, 2011, right in there. Now, one of the things I would have to say, and I agree with you on this, 2011 Money in the Bank, Chicago, CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. If basically Punk's contract expired, but behind the scenes he already re-signed with the company, but a lot of people didn't know that at that time. But he basically was going to win the championship, and he was going to go out there and win that championship. And the Chicago crowd, man, in his hometown was on fire for him, were they not?
Yes, that Chicago crowd ate up CM Punk. And when I remember watching that with my friends live, when you used to have to buy the pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that crowd ate CM Punk. That was just insane. I still get goosebumps watching it to this day. That my friends, is how you get over in wrestling.
Yes.
And CM Punk did it with heat. That whole thing. Stall started. Another important part of the decade was CM Punk's pipe bomb promo that changed the entire landscape of wrestling. That night in Las Vegas when he sat on that ramp and cut one of the best promos of all time in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like Austin at the ring. That promo started a new era in wrestling, and that was CM Punk. And CM Punk, in my opinion, is the wrestler of this decade because CM Punk started a revolution. Guys you would not ever think to get over in the business because he's not 245 pounds of solid muscle. He looks like a regular, ordinary guy, but made probably the most money out of anybody in this decade in wrestling.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
he didn't even do it that long in the decade. But guess what? People chant his name to this day because he is the wrestler of the decade. He's one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
CM Punk can get the palm of your hands, and he's the best thing in WWE, and he's not even wrestling. He's on a WWE backstage show.
Yeah.
People still want to see him more.
Yeah, and he's working for Fox and what he's doing. But the thing about that match right there, that during the match, Mr. John Laurinaitis, or what Enzo Amore used to say, calling him Johnny Laryngitis. Big Johnny comes out and he's going to interfere, but that didn't happen. And Vince got pissed, man, when CM Punk won the WWE Championship. He called Alberto Del Rio out to the ring, and that didn't even work. He took the championship. Right. He waved bye-bye, and he ran up through the crowd, and that was it. That was it right there. Yeah, that had to be one of the defining moments of CM Punk right there, him beating John Cena, winning the WWE Championship. And he went on to hold that championship for 436 days, which a lot of people got an argument with was how WWE made Brock Lesnar the longest reigning champion in WWE in the modern era. No, it was CM Punk. Brock Lesnar's the longest reigning Universal Champion. CM Punk still to this day is the longest reigning WWE champion. He is. Like it or not, he is.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I completely forgot all about that. He is one of the longest reigning champions of all time and of this decade.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something they
knew how to get the job done. In the ring, out of the ring. The guy was great on the mic. He was a good wrestler. I really enjoyed his work on the mic almost more as his wrestling because he knew how to talk you into the building. He knew how to get you right in the palm of your hands. And I love the match, the finish of the match. Like you were saying, with Vince McMahon did it perfectly.
Yes.
Johnny Laryngitis came out there. It was just they were trying to do the Montreal Screwjob all over again.
Yeah, it didn't work.
And I really enjoyed that because CM Punk was at that stardom at that point.
Yeah.
Of like a Bret Hart. You're not going to screw me, though. And John Cena didn't let it happen. Got back in, go to sleep. Man, I was on the crowd was on their feet the entire time. It was a well-built match. And it all started with the Las Vegas promo.
Uh-huh.
The pipe bomb. I really enjoyed that feud. John Cena versus CM Punk. And then I had another match at SummerSlam later on in that year. Champion versus champion. They brought him back for that. That was a good feud. And then CM Punk feuded with Triple H that year. That was a good, CM Punk, that whole year of 2011 was awesome.
That was the summer of Punk.
Stuff WWE.
That was the summer of Punk, man. It definitely was. It definitely was the summer of Punk there for CM Punk right there. He held on to that WWE Championship, man, for 436 consecutive days. I mean, he lost it and got it back, lost it. I forgot how many times though, but the count still stayed on there. It definitely did. Another person, I would have to say, basically, one of the best wrestling moments in this decade. One of the best wrestling moments. I'm not gonna mention that yet because we're on WWE right now for best wrestling moment in the decade. I would have to go with WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan finally winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, beating Randy Orton and Batista in that main event triple threat. What I liked about that WrestleMania 30, what I liked about it, there were so many great stories going on for that pay-per-view right there. What I liked was the fact that Daniel Bryan opened up WrestleMania with his match, and he ended WrestleMania with a match. And that match right there, I mean, the opening match, he had to beat Triple H. If he beat Triple H, he was going to be added into the main event at WrestleMania, which he did, which was great. But the story, Triple H ended up getting mad because he got defeated in the opening match, and he ended up taking out Bryan, trying to take him out. So Bryan went into this match hurt, but in the end, Bryan came out on top, man. He built the crowd. The crowd went with him all the way, man, all the way on this journey, because it was a story that started at SummerSlam in 2013, SummerSlam, and went all the way on into 2014 and ended at WrestleMania. And Daniel Bryan's match at WrestleMania 30, the main event where he finally won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, that right there is one of the best moments in this decade for wrestling history.
Yeah, WrestleMania 30 was a turning point in wrestling as well, because after that it started the Performance Center and the WWE Network. It was a big pay-per-view.
It was.
Brock Lesnar ended the streak at WrestleMania 30, and that had a lot of people talking. And then on top of that, that moment alone was the biggest moment of that WrestleMania. And then you had Daniel Bryan beating two former guys from Evolution, two guys who have been the stronghold of the company, Randy Orton and Batista. Everybody thought Batista was going to be the champion. But out of nowhere, Daniel Bryan overcome the odds after defeating Triple H to be in the match earlier on in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan comes out, becomes the double champion. That was a big moment for the company. And unfortunately, Daniel Bryan didn't get the title run because of his concussions, which ultimately ended his career for a while. And then, by the grace of God, he came back. Daniel Bryan's back.
Yeah.
And glad to see him back. He's a great performer. He's one of the best wrestlers of the decade as far as getting that crowd into it. He started the Yes movement. When you start a movement, you're doing something right. He started the Yes chants. And that's, Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
Daniel Bryan is the best wrestlers of the decade. And I hope at the end of us talking about our moments, we'll name our, top 3 or top 5 wrestlers of the decade if you want to.
Okay,
but, yeah, as far as this one right here was great. I really love WrestleMania 30. It was a good WrestleMania.
Now, you mentioned Undertaker's streak ending. Okay. What went through your mind when the ref counted 1, 2, 3?
Well, let me tell you, I didn't watch the pay-per-view because I didn't start watching wrestling again until 2015. I quit watching when Punk left. So I watched highlights of it, and even though I wasn't watching, I couldn't believe it because that's something you just don't do. They should have never messed with that. He should have never lost at WrestleMania. And Brock Lesnar did not need that to get over. He was already over. They should not have done that.
Yes.
But if it had a guy, I guess, it could be Lesnar because he still has heat to this day over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And,
what gets me...
that ruined, the mystique of The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now he's just another performer there.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Well... he said on the Stone Cold Broken Skull session. Did you watch that on the WWE Network? The Broken Skull session, the interview he did with Steve Austin.
I didn't hear them talking about this.
You didn't hear them talking about the streak.
No.
Okay. What he told Austin was that. They thought Vince thought he didn't have it in him anymore. That was it, and he himself thought that was it. But he realized after the streak was broken, he could still go on, and he still had more to give, which he did though. But that's why the streak was broke. But I'll tell you, he will be always known to me as the man that had the streak at WrestleMania. He'll be also known as the Undertaker, the whatever it is, Dark Lord or whatever it is. I was gonna say, pulling Ozzy is like he's the freaking Prince of Darkness, but that's Ozzy. But yeah, Undertaker, he's still gonna have that. To me, he had a great run, and he will be, to me, when I see him, it's always, I think of the streak. He had the longest streak in WrestleMania history, and no one's ever going to beat that. Not in this time. Maybe, 50, 60 years, 70 years down the road or something, but not in this decade. No.
Yeah. Streak should have never ended, man. I didn't like that.
Yeah. It shouldn't. It shouldn't have, though. But, Vince made the call, and, that was it. That's pretty much was it, though.
And that got some good the fall after that, because Paul Heyman kept bringing it up. How Lesnar ended the streak, and he still does. Lesnar and Heyman still brings that up to this day in the
it's heat
in wrestling.
he still gets heat from it, man. You notice that the guy still gets shit from it.
Yes, he does,
yeah.
And that's just how the fans are. They're passionate, and they really enjoyed the Undertaker streak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he still gets shit. He still gets shit from it. He still gets shit from it because of what he has to bring it up every once in a while. And I think it's funny when he does bring it up every once in a while and says, "My client defeated the Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 and defeated him and broke the streak and woo!" It's like people just get all mad, man. They just every time Heyman mentions that, though. But one thing I do want to mention and bring up, though, but is jumping off of New Japan into New Japan Wrestling. Someone had one of the best wrestling moments of the decade was when Chris Jericho wrestled against Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 13 or 14, I think it was, and became the PG Intercontinental Champion. And he was the first wrestler to hold an Intercontinental Championship from two different companies. He held the Intercontinental Championship in WWE and going to New Japan, he held that championship. That right there, did you see that match in the build with him and Kenny Omega? Did you see that?
Well, he defeated, he didn't defeat Omega to win the Intercontinental Championship. He defeated the other Japanese wrestler. I can't think of his name, though.
Oh.
But he faced Kenny Omega for the U.S. Championship when he first came there.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Totally wrong. This has been forever.
I haven't watched a lot of New Japan here lately. The last time I watched New Japan was when Okada faced Chris Jericho. And that's been a while back.
That's been a long time. That's been a long time
since I've seen New Japan. But if you want to get into this, Chris Jericho making the jump to New Japan was really big for that decade.
Yeah, it was.
He was a guy that always said, I'm never going to leave the WWE. I'm going to be with Vince McMahon till the end. And he left, and he reinvented himself, became a whole different character, and he's dominating wrestling today with the same character. He's the best. He's the best right now in wrestling.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Chris Jericho, and I really enjoyed that match with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega was the U.S. champion at the time, and it was just good stuff.
It was.
Really good stuff.
It was. And some of the stuff that he did with going back and forth in the how they booked the match and how they handled the promos and everything and stuff, it reminded me of an old Southern, wrestling promotion. Something you'd see when Jericho would jump Omega in the ring. He'd pop in there and show up and jump him, in the ring. And then when he took the belt and he'd hit him up beside the head. When was the last time you seen someone grab a championship and use it and knock someone up beside the head, bust them open, and then sit there and punch them in the head where they got busted open and just pound it on them? You didn't see that. And then especially the press conference. Did you see the footage from the press conference? Did you see it?
That was Kenny Omega hasn't done anything great like that since then. Him and Jericho did that well. And then Jericho moved on to Tetsuya Naito. That's his name.
Yeah.
He was the Intercontinental Champion. They had some great matches.
Yeah.
Jericho, in this decade in New Japan, was really good. He solidified himself as a main eventer again. Because
he did.
in WWE, he had the chance. And WWE ruined it with him and Kevin Owens. Him and Kevin Owens had the chance to main event WWE. WWE dropped the ball, of course, with that.
Yep.
But now Jericho reinvented himself in AEW now, and in New Japan, and that was really a turning point in the wrestling industry.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that stuff from Jericho. And now Jericho, once again, breaking down the walls. No pun intended. He's going to be in AEW as the champion still and challenging in New Japan. Jericho will be in New Japan challenging for the championship. Is that what he's doing? Jericho's going to be in New Japan again.
Yep. Yeah, he definitely is going to be in New Japan again there. And that's amazing. I love it. Tanahashi. Yep. Yeah. That's right. Yep. That's it. That is.
Tanahashi wins. He gets a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
Not bad.
That's the stipulation.
Not bad at all.
Did you see AEW working together in 2020?
AEW and New Japan working together in 2020?
On and off. Not like full time, but on and off.
On and off, I probably could. Yeah, I could probably see it happen more in 2020 and stuff, though. But New Japan has that strong relationship with
NXT.
ROH.
Sorry, not to mean to cut you off again, but with NXT beating them here lately, do you think AEW might try to get some help?
I don't know. WWE does their own thing, and they don't like jumping outside of what they do because nothing exists outside WWE. It's all WWE.
No.
And NXT, same thing. I don't think. I think the only thing that's going to help them would be getting a big name talent that's hot on the indies. That would be how they would help themselves. They wouldn't collaborate. I mean, well, actually, they have and they did collaborate with Evolve. They've done that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Evolve and NXT did something together in 2020 or 2021. Who knows? But WWE wouldn't. I mean, NXT, they would go to Evolve if they had to. They definitely would go there right there if they needed to do anything. But AEW and New Japan, I could see them working a little bit more in 2020 together compared to ROH, which they're suffering, man. ROH ain't hot like it was before. I hate to throw this in here, but ROH is not hot like they used to because a lot of the talent that people love that's in AEW, they came from ROH. They came from ROH. You had the Bucks. You had SoCal. You have some of the other talent I can't think off the top of my head though. But ROH had a great roster at one point, and they all left and went to AEW, or a lot of them went to TNA, went to Knockout. Not Knockout. Excuse me, Impact. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Impact Wrestling. They went to Impact, between Impact and AEW. But 2020, New Japan, AEW, yeah, I could see them working more together with doing things. But that's would have to be one of my favorite moments of the decade. Would be the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho feud, and the build up to that was just excellent.
Yeah, it was. Goldberg returning to WWE was really fun.
That's a good one.
Having the match with Lesnar, Goldberg returning to the ring. I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
That's why it was so good to me. I never thought that Goldberg would return like he did and beat Lesnar at Survivor Series that quick. And because that's what Goldberg used to do to everybody, beat them real quick. And I really liked that. That's a moment that sticks out to me right there. Goldberg returned. Then they had another match at WrestleMania, and it was great. Great stuff.
It was great stuff, man. You didn't expect, and I loved how they booked Goldberg. They booked him like the old WCW, which you didn't get to see in a long time. You didn't get to see that, and he won the Universal Championship, and he held on to it probably about a month, and then he lost it to Lesnar at Mania, and that was pretty much it for now. Goldberg's like, that's it for now, But here's a moment that happened in this decade. Edge retiring because of neck injury in 2011. 2019, you seen Edge step back into a wrestling ring and do a spear to Elias. Wow. So you say to yourself, something's going on. The guy retired because of neck injury, and he had to retire because if he took another bump in the ring, he'd be in a wheelchair. And then 8 years later, he ends up back in the ring spearing someone like he never even left without a care in the world. That would be a moment right there. Seeing Edge step back in the ring and giving another spear to someone. That's
Yes, I would love. Edge was very instrumental in my wrestling career about being a wrestler. I miss Edge, and it sucks that he had to go the way. You know, it sucks that he had to leave the wrestling business.
Yep.
The way he did.
It did. Edge quoted someone saying, and someone mentioned the Edge. They said, "You don't in wrestling. When it comes down to it, in pro wrestling, you don't decide when you're going to retire. Your body will tell you when it's time." And his body, he was like, "That's it." You know, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I really do miss Edge. Love to see him back in the ring.
Yeah, I definitely would love to see him back in the ring at one point and stuff. What's another moment out there you wanna mention? One more moment, and then you wanna rattle off our top 5, or do you want to go ahead and just rattle off our top 5 or top 5 favorite moments?
We can go ahead into our top 5.
Okay. All right. You tell your number 5 first, and then I'll go, and then you go for your 4, and I go, so on. Okay. Your top 5 moment. Number 5 of the decade.
I'm going to go with Chris Jericho at number 5.
At Wrestlers?
The way he... Yes.
Yeah, not moments.
Chris Jericho,
we did the moments, but yeah, Wrestlers.
WWE.
Yes.
So, I'm going to go with Chris Jericho.
Okay. I'd say number 5 would be, for me, in this decade, would have to be, damn. Shoot, and I had this too. I would have to go with John Cena at number 5 for me. What's your number 4?
You know, this might be a questionable one for some people, but I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes, because he left WWE, reinvented himself, became one of the biggest stars in the company, and now is a vice president of AEW, the new company, and venturing on into 2020. Cody Rhodes, man, is one of the best stars right now. And I think Cody Rhodes, near the end of the decade, started to become one of the best stars of the decade in just that short time. I'm going to go with Cody.
Cody. Okay, for your number 4 there. My number 4, I'd have to go with CM Punk. CM Punk, everything that he did. I mean, he didn't really. I mean, he had that moment. I mean, 2011 was his moment, was his defining year, and him coming back in 2019 to host, WWE Backstage, and being hired by Fox to talk about WWE wrestling, which I think is intriguing. So, CM Punk would be my number 4 there. Who would be your number 3?
Daniel Bryan. He started the Yes movement of this decade. Daniel Bryan, was the main event of WrestleMania against Randy Orton and Batista and started a movement. Daniel Bryan got over. He was very instrumental in the WWE in this decade. Everybody still wants to see him on television. Daniel Bryan had one of the best feuds of the decade with The Authority that made Triple H one of the biggest heels in the business. Man, it was really good stuff what Daniel Bryan did. I'm going to put him at number 3.
All right. Number 3? Number 3 for me would have to be Cody Rhodes. Had to be Cody Rhodes. If you look at back in during his time in WWE, he had some moments here and there, especially becoming tag team champions with his brother. in WWE, and then him going on to AEW and what he's done with AEW since it's debuted on TNT. Cody would have to be our number 3 pick. What's your number 2 pick there?
I'm going to have to go with, it might be a little controversial, Roman Reigns. I'm going to have to go with Roman Reigns at number 2 on just, he became a big star in the WWE. He debuted in 2012 with the Shield. And, it just, all bets are off from there. He was a champion. He battled cancer and came back, and he's still wrestling now.
Yes.
Roman Reigns put him at number 2.
Okay. My number 2 would have to be AJ Styles. AJ Styles. Look at this guy. He was champion in WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, and he was a champion in New Japan. He was a champion in 4 different companies in the last decade. 2-time U.S. champion. He led the Bullet Club at one point. A 2-time WWE champion. And he would have to be my phenomenal number 2 pick right there, because just everything that he's accomplished in the last decade. I'm still going to look up the match he had on Impact in 2011 against Kurt Angle. I heard that's one hell of a match. People say they recommend that match right there, but I'm going to have to pull it up and see for myself there. Chris, what or who is your number 1 wrestler of the decade?
CM Punk, as I stated earlier. CM Punk started a revolution. He started a new era in wrestling with the pipe bomb promo in Las Vegas. He started, guys started coming in like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles. All these guys got signed after the CM Punk formula got them there. CM Punk started a revolution of independent wrestlers becoming stars in the WWE.
Yes.
Because, John Cena before that was the big star. And you had Batista and you had Randy Orton, and then CM Punk started becoming the biggest star in the company, and he has been for years. And the last big star WWE had was him, in my opinion, as far as getting a crowd into everything. CM Punk was the last guy to do that, and they haven't really, besides Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, there hasn't really been a big star since then.
No.
CM Punk is up there with Cena, Austin, Rock, Taker, Flair, you name it. Punk is up there with those guys. CM Punk is the best wrestler of this decade, in my opinion. 2010, 2019.
Okay. I agree. I agree with a lot what you're saying there. I definitely do. I mean, no argument right there. No argument. Why? Because you've hit every nail in the coffin on this one right there. My number 1 pick of best wrestler of the decade would have to be Chris Jericho. For the fact that Chris Jericho was champion in 2 different companies and a champion with 3 different championships in 3 different companies. Jericho also being in AEW, becoming their first ever AEW heavyweight champion. His name will be on that list forever, as long as he lives. And with Jericho being a multi-champion in so many companies, that just how he could get people to love him or hate him at the same time. And that's why I have him as my number 1 pick of best wrestler of the decade here. So, wow. Great discussion. Great show. Great everything tonight here. I think we have another winner and a great show and a great program that we kicked off 2020 with. Don't you agree, Chris?
Yeah, man, we had a good show tonight. I'm really glad to see what happens in 2020 with us. Slammin' Thursdays with me and you, buddy. I'm ready for it.
Oh, I am too. I definitely am ready for it too. And one thing I am definitely ready for is for the fact that starting next week on the Everett Lee Show on January 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, I've had my guest on that you see right there. I've had him on multiple times on the show, and he's coming back this Tuesday night on January 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Film director and producer of Zombie with a Shotgun, Hilton Ariel Ruiz, returns to the Everett Lee Show because the movie's done, and I watched it, and I have questions to ask him about this film. So be sure to check out the first interview with my guest for 2020 right there on January 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, live right here on Facebook.com/The Everett Lee and over on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Everett Lee. And you can follow more podcast shows such as The Everett Lee Show over on podcastcity.net, your top source for independent podcasting. You can check out shows such as the Super Radio Brothers, The Imaginarium with Scott and Todd, Russell Popcast, Deathmatch Russell Podcast, Chris Carnage Show, Final Score, Best Friend Show Podcast, Movie Nights Podcast, and much, much more over on podcastcity.net. And follow them on Facebook, Podcast City Network, and hit them up on Twitter at Podcast City Net. Subscribe to your YouTube channel for video portion podcast right there on Podcast City Network, and follow them on Twitch, Podcast City Network. And you can follow Everett Lee on social media on the Everett Lee Show Facebook. If you haven't hit that thumbs up and you're watching and you're on that page, hit the thumbs up. Give me a like and a follow. Send me a tweet over on Twitter at the Everett _Lee, and follow me on Instagram, Everett Lee Show. And you can listen to this podcast and previous release podcast over on the following: on YouTube, Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio. Download that app for your smartphone or tablet. Give a review and a rating. iTunes, give a review and a rating. And over on everettleeshow.podbeam.com. And be sure to follow me over there. Download the Podbeam app, and you'll be able to pull up shows such as mine, the Everett Lee Show, and much, much more podcast content over on their Podbeam app. And Chris, do you have anything you want to add before we close out the night?
You will catch the Chris Rose this Sunday in Nicholasville, Kentucky for WCCW. That's where my next show will be, and I will also be in action next Saturday at KGW on January the 11th in Shopville, Kentucky.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Everett Lee Show Slammin' Thursday edition. And Everett Lee is done. We will see you again next Thursday night for another edition of Slammin' Thursday edition of the Everett Lee Show with Everett Lee and the Chris Rose. Have a good night and a good weekend. We'll see you here next week for Slammin' Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, peace.